our next news story comes from Go Nintendo, where they say developers say Nintendo is making a bigger push for more violent, risque content on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I feel like we first started getting a hint at this with the first time I really noticed it was Paper Mario Color Splash or whatever it was on the Wii U. There were a lot of jokes in that game, and some of the jokes were of the sexual variety, to where adults playing the game would get some of the hints, but kids would just like overlook it, be like, I don't understand that, and then keep going. So the article says the following info comes from a Wall Street Journal article. They say Nintendo is encouraging some producers of violent or risque games to provide content for the Switch. There is, I forgot what the name of it is, but there was some game that when it came out for the Vita, the collector's edition, the bonus item that came with it was a pair of panties. And the
Who
game
thinks of that?
the game was one of the games where it's basically like what you see in the screenshot here. I'll probably put the video, or maybe not, of the trailer for the game. But anyways, we seen that game, I forgot the name of it, come to the Switch. And there's also Doom, which is one of the most violent games that you could probably
Ever.
play.
Pretty much one of the most violent games ever.
And Nintendo's always had a big censorship on religious stuff in their games. They changed the cross on the shield to something else. They changed the music for the Fire Temple in Ocarina of Time because it represented, or people thought it sounded like a Buddhist prayer or chant or something like that.
Yeah, it was used like a sample clip that turned out to be,
And then, like moving on, even until now, they've been getting more and more strict. Oh, here it is, the game down here, Galgun 2, I believe was the name. Going on, it says developers say more titles for mature audiences are coming after Nintendo encouraged them. Takuya Azu, I believe I mispronounced that. Chief executive of Inti Creates assumed Nintendo wouldn't be interested in Galgun 2, which was the game that I was referring to earlier, or at least I believe it was the game. In discussions with Nintendo, they welcomed the idea of bringing it to the Switch. One executive at an outside developer said Nintendo was passive until now on risque and violent content. Now that executive would no longer say that's the right word to describe Nintendo's stance today. Nintendo said, as with books, television, and movies, different content is meant for different audiences. Nintendo also said, parents have several ways to ensure their children don't play games at adults. Shinya Takahashi, a Nintendo executive, said Nintendo's aim was to attract grown-up game players in the West. Koei Tecmo says, Knights of Azure 2 Switch sales are not bad in Japan. Tak Fuji says Nintendo has opened its window to more developers, and it has gotten much kinder to companies new to the Nintendo platform. So what are your thoughts on this? Like the games that it named off, Galgun 2, Knights of Azure 2, these aren't really games that I would buy or play.
Probably same, yeah.
But some of the other violent games, like they had Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed on the Wii U, so I don't really think they're against violent games. I think this is more just focused on like the more mature lewd games.
The risque content.
Yeah. Because they pushed for Doom. I imagine like Grand Theft Auto will eventually come to the Switch because people do mostly think of Grand Theft Auto 5 now as a PS4, Xbox One, PC game, but it originally launched on the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and basically any third-party game that runs on a 360 could easily run on the Nintendo Switch. So it isn't a matter of the power bringing it over. I just imagine they just have to take the time to work on the port. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think what they're doing is good. You know, you got to expand your audience, and also, like, keep in mind we do have the ESRB for a reason. Like, don't be a responsible parent. Don't buy your kids Doom if they're like, you know what I mean? Unless your kid is like 20, then sure, buy them Doom. Then you're a cool parent. But like that's why we have ratings for software. Just like we have ratings for movies, right? So I mean, like movie theaters shouldn't stop playing movies that are rated R because they don't want kids to see them. They have the ratings to stop kids from seeing them. So that's the same principle for games, in my opinion. I'm fine with having. I think that like if I'm an adult who owns a Nintendo Switch, I should be able to own one console and have all the games I want on that console. But that's not the case, right? So I have other consoles as well. But I'm mostly a Nintendo fan. So for them to bring games like Doom, which I haven't bought because I don't have a PS4 or a really good gaming computer, for it to come to Switch, I'm like, great, I don't need to buy another console. I was gonna get a PS4 just to get Rocket League because I love it so much, but they're putting it on Switch, so it's like, great. So if you're worried about the content, like Doom is going to be my big example, coming onto Switch and affecting children, don't buy it for your kids. Like that's why you have these ratings. Doom is very clearly a really violent game. If you don't want your kids to play it, don't buy it for them. Nintendo can still be a family-friendly console with M-rated games on it. Like, I don't know, that's basically my thoughts on the subject as a whole. Bring all the games that we want to Switch. I want to support them. I want to play games on my Switch. In fact, it might even be better to have it on Switch, because then if I have my kid in the room and I'm playing a game like Doom, then I can just have it in handheld mode. He doesn't have to see it. In fact, actually, a couple of years ago, I played through Resident Evil 4. I had only played it on the GameCube before, and then I got the Wii version, which was fine. But I played it on, like, I played through the whole game on the Wii U gamepad with headphones, because I didn't want my kid to see these really scary things, right? And actually that was really good, because it was, first of all, the headphones made it very immersive, and I crapped my pants almost on a couple parts. But like, to have that same sort of option with the Switch, where I don't need to have it on the screen, I can have it off screen and play it and not have to worry about that. So it's good. Good, Nintendo. Do the things. Good. It's good for business.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts, Jesse?
I think this goes back to the same argument that I had for the loot boxes and everything else. Is it's great for the people who want it, but for the people who don't want the mature rated games, just don't buy them. In the end, it's great for Nintendo, because even if it's a third-party game selling, Nintendo still gets some of that profit. So yeah, it's just good job for Nintendo, finally evolving how they think. Like Grand Theft Auto 5 is still one of the best selling games, and if that comes to the Switch, there's a lot of people who probably already bought it for 2 separate consoles that'll buy it for the third just to play it in handheld mode. Doom, it was really exciting to see it on there. Skyrim was another game that was very, very mature for some of the stuff that it offers. And whenever it came, I was like, okay, well, this is awesome. Nintendo's not saying, hey, your game has this in it, so it can't be on our console. So I'm just excited to see where it goes and how far Nintendo's going, because it's not like they're saying, okay, we'll allow you to put this on there. From the article, it sounds like Nintendo was going to the developers saying, hey, we want this on the console, instead of waiting for developers to come to them. So I think
good. They want games on their console. Like, why would anyone complain about that? They want games on their console. You know?
Basically all I have to say about that. Do you have any final thoughts on it, or are we good to move on?
My final thought is, if someone I can hear someone's complaint now saying, well, if it's on the eShop, then my kid might download it and play it without me knowing. And that's what parental controls are for, guys.
Yeah.
So that's, it's good.
Right.
Moving on. The last piece of news is there's a fan mod for Breath of the Wild that looks to have Zelda as the playable character. So it's the fan mod that we wanted to be the real DLC.
The videos on this channel are funded by supporters on Patreon like you. If you're a fan of this channel and would like to join on videos, receive shoutouts, watch videos early, have your questions answered, or have your topic discussed on our podcast, please consider supporting on Patreon for these and many other rewards for just $1. Shoutouts for this video includes Link Use the Triforce, Rusty Caulfield, Lovable Christie, Give Time 15, Shadow to Us, Robbie Morgan, and Lunarium. I want to thank all of you for everything you have done to help support this channel.